Well, hello everyone. I'm glad you could meet up with us here today, and you're all going to enjoy this webinar with me and Michelle. And let me tell you a little bit about Michelle. She's going to be talking about becoming a webinar specialist. And Michelle's been a VA and an internet marketer since 2009. She's been creating top-notch software demos, video training, and webinars with her three favorite tools: Camtasia Studio, PowerPoint, and GoToWebinar, which you're on today is GoToWebinar. With over 7 years of experience in all facets of internet marketing, Michelle is able to help her clients not only with their video screencasts, but also their sales webinars, their training webinars, and the design of their slide presentations. Michelle also has many products geared to virtual assistants who also want to help their clients create video training and deliver webinars. And I'm so happy that Michelle is here with us today to show us a little bit of what's behind the scenes on becoming a webinar specialist. And Michelle, I envy you, because this is what I would want to be if I was doing it all over again and starting from scratch, because there's lots of money to be, if you're a VA in this niche, because it's a real specialty that clients really need. So Michelle, I'm just going to let you take over the mic here and yeah, let us know what's going on here.
All right. Well, thanks. And Sonia and I are no strangers. We met each other many years ago. So thank you guys for spending your time with me this afternoon. And before I get started, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the way I look at my virtual event business. Okay, you guys may have heard of the difference between a lifestyle business and I don't know what the other one is, a make as much money as you possibly can business, which seems to be what most of the big, internet marketers are all about. And I don't look at it that way. I'm going to be really transparent with you about how many hours I put in and what kind of money I make, so that you can make a decision on your own, whether or not this is the specialty for you. I consider this a lifestyle business because I've got two kids, Josh and Danielle. I homeschool both of them, as I have for the last 5 years. That takes up some time. My husband, Michael, has his own business, and I run his website too, and I have a lot of things I like to do. This is us when we got off a cruise ship in St. Croix. We're holding all these little miniature monkeys. I don't remember what they're called, but they are just so adorable. We just had to take a picture. And so I've got a lot going on, and I do consider myself full-time, but I would never probably put in more than 30 hours a week. So I'm working about 25 or 30 hours a week. And this is pretty much how it breaks down. I work 25 or 30 hours a week. There are weeks that I may work less because the kids have got a lot of things going on. This past year, actually, my mom passed away, so I was able to take care of her for her last few months. And so I put in less hours than that, but that's why I call it a lifestyle business, because I like to have the flexibility, and that is what this particular specialty gives me. So what I do is about 50% virtual assistant work for clients, and it's split between helping them with webinars and creating Camtasia video training, video marketing, video tutorials and all that, whatever they want. The next 40% is passive income, which I call it passive income, but of course I have to work to create it. But I have some training courses that I sell and related products. You all have heard of affiliate stuff. So if I've created some training classes, there may be things that are related that I also make commissions on. And then the last 10% is private coaching, which is split between VAs and internet marketers, because I have two lives. One is the virtual assistant life, I have a whole website for that, and then I have the other website, which is all about teaching internet marketers how to add video to their skills. So, add video to their website. Just to get a little bit more transparent with you, I only actually do this on Tanya's webinars. It's kind of interesting. I'm going to share this with you guys. So I started keeping track of my profits, and I'll show you how I do it below. From the first year I started in 2009, and this is not gross. This is net after. Oh, I'm going to pay some taxes on this. This is before I pay taxes, but this is after I've paid all my business expenses and all. All right, so I started keeping track of it. My best year was 2014, and then last year my mom passed away, so I worked a lot less. Instead of having my trend, it seemed like it was about 15,000 more every single year. I actually went down last year, but I'm not surprised. What I do actually is, and you guys should do this too, I don't care if you use OneNote like I do or something, you want to see where you were and where you end up being. So I actually track every single month, and what I earned that month and what it was from, because I get to see different trends. So I think this actually goes back to 2013, I guess. I am not a six-figure VA yet, but maybe if I wanted to work more than 30 hours a week, maybe I would be, but it's not my choice right now to do so. One of these days the kids will graduate and from high school, and it may become a full-time business. All right, but so that is the percentage of everything, and I wanted to let you know, because my main reason for sharing that with you is because at the end of this webinar, I'm going to offer you some additional training if you're interested in pursuing this particular specialization. And I just want you to be able to decide, is it going to be a good return on your investment? It's not a big investment, but it is an investment, and I want to be sure, I want you to be sure that it fits your plans for the way you want your lifestyle to be. And of course, I'll answer questions all about that kind of stuff as we move on. Now, what are the typical webinar specialist fees? I want to kind of get this part out of the way, and then we're going to talk about what a webinar specialist actually does, right? Okay, so I pulled this ad out, and here was an ad. Where did I find this? Craigslist, maybe? It's not $200 a day, meaning the whole darn day. It means it's per webinar, and that's pretty much what I charge too, $200 a webinar. Okay, so I wanted you to see that it was legit. All right, now I have a little poll for you guys. This is one of my interactive kind of things, and I do this for my clients when I do webinars for them. Sometimes we come up with a poll, and I am going to launch this poll and have you answer this question. The poll should be open now, and I want to know, what are you doing here? Why did you decide to come to this webinar today? You don't have to pick just one thing. You can pick more than one thing if it applies to you. And then in a second, I'm going to share the results of the poll, and we're going to see, oops, let me go back a slide there. We're going to see why everybody's here today. All right, let's just give it about 5 more seconds. The numbers are going up. The numbers are going up. If you're multitasking, pause your multitasking right now. Answer the poll. Be a part of the community. All right, I see. When I release the results, you're going to see that they are more than 100%, because some people decided to pick more than one. Okay, so closing the polls, They are closed. All right, so here are the results. We got 77% of you might want to add them as an additional. Okay, so that's the majority. Oh, over half may want to deliver their own webinars. That's great. I didn't expect there to be such a high percentage of that because, you know, people get nervous. You know, I mean, I've probably done 300 of these webinars, but the hour before I do the webinar, I am doing jumping jacks in the room to burn off the nervous energy. Because when I saw 384 people, I was like, oh, okay, no problem. Hope the technology works okay. And let's see, 29% and 29% may want to be the go-to person for just this skill, and then another 29% are just getting into the whole thing. So for those of you who are just getting into it, what a great place to start. And I'm going to tell you why, because I didn't start out doing webinars. I started out trying to do everything, and I got so burnt out, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But okay, I'm going to hide that poll for you. All right, so you should be seeing my screen again, and if you don't, say so. All right, why pick this? Why choose webinar specialist? Okay, first of all, this is a biggie. For those of you who are just starting out, you get to watch all the webinars for free. And if you pick a client, and I used to just go after my own clients back when I first started, excuse me, had to drink something. When I first started, I picked, and I started out with, when I first started offering these particular services, I started out with, you may have heard of Hot Skills way back in the day. There was VA training. I don't think they do it anymore, but I told them I would record their webinars at the beginning for free so that I could get into their $200 and $300 sessions on shopping carts and autoresponders, and because I didn't have the money, and I said, let me just practice with doing these for free a few times, and that way if I mess up, well, I didn't charge them anyways, but it was like being paid $300 a webinar, because I would have found the money to take that free training. And so that was a huge benefit. Secondly, okay, there's low competition because it's kind of one of these things that people don't know about. I mean, now they do because of Tanya. But I was, before I started offering the services, I kind of stayed a little, I mean, offering the webinars, the training to other virtual assistants, I was kind of on the low down, you know, like my mom always said, if you got something good, shut up about it. Well, I've decided not to shut up about it anymore because there's plenty of business out there. Lots of people are doing webinars. I will not suffer if 100 of you start offering your skills. It's not going to take anything away from me. So that's why I feel confident in teaching everybody how to do it. So I feel like the money's good and there's just not a lot of people doing it. As I already alluded to, there is a growing clientele base. It's not like people are starting to do less webinars, okay? They're doing more and more. So I am never bored. It's never one of those things where you're, oh, I'm so sick of doing the same thing over again. Every webinar is different. Every webinar is on a different topic. Every client wants me to help them in a little bit of a different way. Every PowerPoint deck that I create is creative for me. I get ideas. I can do my own thing more or less with them, and so it's just not a boring thing to do. Like, I don't want to keep mentioning the same things, but early at the beginning when I did learn, say, how to do the shopping cart stuff and the Aweber stuff, I don't know, I didn't find it to be all that creative, so I like this better. Let's see here. And the skills you develop can transition to video work. So if you learn how to record and edit someone's webinar, especially if you decide to use Camtasia as your tool, that's the way I started. once, I started doing a lot of different things, but when I first started in the let's call it the video-ish world, the first thing I did was buy Camtasia and start recording webinars, and then I branched out to doing actual start from scratch of videos for people, because my skills just grew from there. So it's a good segue into that. I'm just looking at the questions. Oh yeah, so Donna remembers Tina Forsyth and Cindy Greenway. Yeah. All right. They're still two of my favorite people. All right, so, why do clients need you anyhow? Why don't they just do their own webinars? There's no rule to say you have to have a webinar assistant. And, they could. Theoretically, they can jump on a webinar by themselves and crash and burn. They don't have to have somebody with them. But I have found that over the hundreds of webinars that I have done, about 1 out of every 3 or 4 webinars will have some kind of a technical glitch. About 1 out of every 3 webinars will have the client freaked out because they are having trouble operating the webinar software that they thought was so easy. It looked so easy to them in the training guide. And now they can't figure out how to record. They're going to lose the recording. They can't figure out how to get it to pick up their microphone, so they sound like crap because it's coming through their laptop or something. They can't figure out that they're not supposed to hit start broadcast before they're ready to start the broadcast. So there are so many things, and not just that. Okay, not just that, you guys. I'm going to show you. Oops. I'm going to just show you the list. I think it's in my PDF. Okay. This is a list of the things that are involved. And for those of you who want to do webinars, don't worry about it. It's not like you can't do all these things. I do them myself, and I have Leslie, who's on the call right now, Leslie Keffler. I don't know how many of you guys know us, but she's been my assistant for the last 6 or 7 years, and Leslie does all this stuff for me. So this particular checklist, you have things like setting it up, picking out the tool, right? All the stuff you need to have in advance for contingency planning. If this goes wrong, you'll have that. If this goes wrong, you'll have that. If the client loses their webinar connection, you'll have this set up. Blah blah blah. You need a lead page, a webinar landing page, like the one you registered on. Okay, somebody's going to set that up for the client. It has to have a thank you page. It has to send an email to a broadcast email out to their email service provider, giving them the information about the webinar. So they need to know some kind of an email tool. All right. They got to get people onto the webinar. Some people just think if they have a webinar and they just put a link to it on their blog post that they're going to get people to come, and that's not the way it works. All right, there's a lot more to it to get a nice turnout for a webinar. And you put a lot into the content of these slides, so you don't want to do a webinar and have 10 people show up. There's things to do on the day of the event. There's things to do during the event. Okay, and then afterwards, how about repurposing the webinar for blog posts, for YouTube, for a future training course, for an opt-in page. An opt-in page is something where you come to it and you type in your email and you get to download something for free. It's also sometimes referred to as a landing page, or there's a lot of different names for it. Okay, that is why they That is why they need you, because there's a whole list of things they just don't know that they don't know until all of a sudden they try to do it on their own without an assistant, and they mess up or nobody comes. So that's what I'm saying. Okay, so now what are the different parts of being a webinar assistant? What can you offer your clients? Okay, the pre and post and during support. This means you can just offer like what I have on my webinar assistant page, and so obviously I offer these packages or I wouldn't be teaching it. I've been offering it for a long time. On that particular page, all I offer is to do a practice session with them, be there on the webinar for the technical support, and then help them get the webinar onto their blog or their YouTube. Okay, so that's a package that I offer. If they ask me, oh, you know, can you do all this other stuff that I mentioned? Yeah, that I'm going to charge by the hour for. And my rate for that is $75 an hour, because I know I do a really good job in that. All right, so during the meeting, you're moderating, you're interacting, you're doing the Q&A, you're doing the polling. I've got Leslie on here right now. She's answering a lot of your questions behind the scenes. And that way I don't have to stop my presentation and look and see that somebody's having trouble with their audio, if you know what I mean, or somebody's asking if there's going to be a replay. I don't really want to stop for those kinds of questions. Those are important questions. They need to be answered, and somebody's going to do it. So that's you. Event marketing support, post-event follow-up, so you can offer all these things. I also offer PowerPoint design. So if you're kind of a creative person and you want to get into that, that might be the only thing you offer. You know, you might be a webinar specialist that creates PowerPoints for webinar. How about that? I just thought of that. Okay, so I mean, we're talking about niching within a niche, right? That's the better way to do it, actually. You could specialize in taking webinar recordings and repurposing them for clients. I'm telling you, there's a big market in that, you guys, because your clients don't know what the heck to do with their webinars other than send them out to the people. They don't know about cutting them up into all little pieces and putting them on social media and using it for this and that and the other thing. So that's something you can do. And you can also be like Leslie, who's on the call, and simply set up the webinars in their webinar tool and coordinate them on their schedule, and maybe you'd end up being a virtual event specialist. I used to run that course at another virtual assistant organization. It was called a virtual event specialist, and it taught people how to run these virtual events like Tanya's VA Virtuosos, because that's extremely involved. You have to get lots of different speakers, coordinate them at all different times, help them practice and all that business. So that's a wonderful specialty to have. All right, now if you're the moderator, you just need to be comfortable with technology. So basically what I'm saying is, if you freak out when something goes wrong, you know, webinar moderating might not be the thing for you, because no matter what happens, I'm calm, I take care of it, I make sure my clients don't worry, and I can do things like, oh, say my client their whole internet goes down. They know in advance they need to call in. I've given them the phone number. I've got their slides. They've given me them in advance. They're going to call in, and I'm going to run the slides, and they're just going to talk to the slides. So I have all these contingency plans, and I'll just laugh and go, oh, you know, we lost Tanya typical of Tanya to leave in the middle of her webinar. You know, I'll say something funny like that, and then I'm going to say she's calling in. You guys hang in there. She's going to call in, and we're going to run the slides and pick up where we left off. You know, so you just have to be kind of a calm, natured person. You need a good internet connection. If you're out in the boonies, then being on a webinar with a client is not for you. And multitasking mainly because you are helping not only behind the scenes, but you also are sometimes, you know, you're answering questions, and then you're also sometimes doing things like making last-minute changes to the sales page, you know, finding different links for your client. They may say, Michelle, put that link out to everybody for the blah, 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 that blog post I wrote. So you're kind of going through and helping out with that. So if you've got kids, you're good at multitasking. And you have to be reliable. If you don't show up on the webinar, your client will be unhappy. So you got to make sure you can. Now, I don't want you guys to worry if you've got kids. I did it all during me having kids. Because you are on mute the whole time. Leslie is there in the background, and she's doing all this stuff, but she's not speaking. So if you've got kids that are climbing on top of you, or you're nursing a baby, you can do it and do this at the same time. I'm not kidding. I've done it. Okay. Anyhow, I'm not gonna go through all of these because you can just look at them on your own. This is just some of the stuff that the details of the things that I do with my clients on the webinars. Okay. All right, then I don't want you to think that you have to run out and spend $2.99 on Camtasia if you are just, you know, if you say, oh yeah, I like this idea, I can do this. You don't have to just use Camtasia. I mean, literally any video editing tool can edit a webinar. I happen to have Camtasia, and I'll pull that up. I have one of my clients' webinars in it, getting ready to edit it. It's not a complex tool to use if all you're doing with it is editing webinars. It is $299 if this is your tool of choice, only because, you know, it has a lot of other things you can do with it if you want to get into video production, or you want to edit your own webinars and you know, add all these little fancy stamps, you know, they're called call-outs, and you want to zoom in on different parts of the webinar, you know, to show things and mess with your audio and blah, blah, blah. So it's got, you know, put music in it. So it's got a lot of stuff in it. But if you don't feel like spending the money right now on that, there's also Snagit from the same manufacturer, you know, the company. They make Snagit. Some of you guys may already have it. It's a great screen capture tool. So it's $59, and it edits now too. It edits videos. All right, so you pull in the video you've got, and then you can edit out the beginning. See that where, you know, we started the recording early, and there's a bunch of chatter at the beginning. So, you know, you can cut. So you just cut that out. You know, find the mistakes, go through the webinar, and just cut little things out there. And then when you're finished with it, you can send it, well, yeah, you could send it over to Camtasia Studio if you wanted to, but you can send it up to YouTube if you or your client wants it to be watchable from YouTube, or that's where they choose to host it. You might as well. I mean, YouTube can hold hour-long videos, no problem, no reason not to host it on YouTube unless it's a private paid training course or something and you don't want to host it there. You can put it up on Google Drive. You can go straight to a Dropbox and send it to your client, and maybe they put it on their own web server. So So Snagit's great, and once you have Snagit, the world opens up to you as far as making all kinds of pretty documentation and stuff. That's what they're really known for. But so there you go. You can use either of those tools. If you have something like Sony Vegas or Premiere Elements, you already have what you need to edit the webinars. So that means that you don't have to go out and buy anything. Theoretically, you could just get by with like a headset. You can go buy a $35 headset from Walmart. I would choose the Logitech Clear Chat for 35 bucks, and now you're in the business, okay? Whoa, you're set up for webinars. Whoa, so now you hang out your shingle. All right, so let's see. So there's your potential tools plus many others. You know, even Windows Movie Maker, I'm trying to think if Windows Movie Maker can spit out an MP4 file. That's really all you need is an MP4 file. That's the kind of file you put up on the internet of video. So those of you who do have something already, just make sure it puts out that kind of a file and that you can cut things out. All right, so here's a way to make a little bit of additional money when you provide that service. First of all, you're going to want to specialize in one or two tools and learn those tools really well. I personally love GoToWebinar because it's the most reliable tool I've ever used. I think for the last 4 years, it's never glitched on me. And I also can do Google Hangouts too, but I don't do them as well as, I mean, I'm not, let's just say, an absolute guru on Google Hangouts, but if they don't want to spend anything on their tool, then we can use that. But what I've done is I've signed up as an affiliate for GoToWebinar because I do use it, I do love it, I'm not going to recommend anything I don't use. And when you sign your client up for GoToWebinar, or you just recommend it and give them a link, well, every month they keep it, you're getting extra passive income from that. So that's nice. We'll just leave it at that. It's nice. Okay. All right. Now, how are you? Let me take another sip of Crystal Light. The mango flavor of Crystal Light is so good. Okay. How are you going to get business? Well, I started with my current clients, and then I moved on when I ran out of work. That's when I moved on to getting more additional clients. So how are you going to sell your current clients on the benefits of doing webinars? Because they're scared. They're scared. They want to do them, but they're scared. So you got to tell them it is worth it, current client. It is so worth it to start doing webinars. It's the best way for you to get people on a mailing list. When they run a webinar, let's just say they've invited their Facebook people and their Twitter following and their LinkedIn groups to come. Well, now those people automatically get put on your client's email list. So that means they can follow up with those people and start building a relationship with them. And once those people start to trust your client and believe that they're smart and that they've got good information, they might just buy a product from them. And that is the bomb. Okay, it's the easiest way to create a training product. Let me tell you, I'm a big Camtasia user, love it, but if I tried to create all my training products on my own, just me and Camtasia Studio, I would still be working on my first training product. So can you say procrastination? That is why. what I do is I hold a webinar and I invite people to it. Now, in this case, I didn't do that with you guys because I've already run my webinar course that I'm going to talk to you about at the end. I've already run it 5 or 6 times, so it's already created. But for new products, I will usually sell it first. You see how many people are interested in it, and then tell everybody it starts in a week. And then come hell or high water, I better create that training product by, Monday, February 12th or whatever, because 15 people have already paid for it and they're expecting something. So I'll deliver it live via webinar, and then I'll just edit the heck out of it in Camtasia afterwards, because I can tell you I'm really bad when it comes to filler words. If you've really been paying attention to me talking, you will hear and then I sniffle a little bit, and then I cough, and I go into Camtasia and I remove all that stuff from it, so I sound all professional and polished. So I'm willing to do that to get that training product out there in a hurry, because if I waited to create the training product in Camtasia, then I would procrastinate and I would do a little bit of it, and then a month later I just don't have time, and then it would never get done. Now, my Camtasia is 100% useful because I use it to create all my marketing and sales videos. I use it to I use it to create my customers' professional tutorials and software demos, and my customers' training products, because they're scripted and they're beautiful and they have to be all approved, and so all that. So, anyways, but for myself, I'm gonna do webinars. All right, I use it for all my coaching and consulting. If you don't have a webinar tool, yeah, I guess you could, if you could coach people over Skype or something, but I use my webinar tool because it has a recording feature on it. So how easy is that? It's just easier to share your screen and share your face with a good, strong tool like GoToWebinar. I mentioned this already. It's an easy transition to start creating your own marketing and sales videos. So that is what you can tell your clients. Oh, there's one more. Hold on. Fastest way to get content to repurpose. I did a whole blog post on this recently, and in the email I send out to you next week, I'm going to share that with you, all about repurposing content. Your clients may be like, what are you talking about? And you can say, wow, you didn't know that you could do this and this and this with a webinar? That's why you pay me the big bucks, right? All right. How has specializing as a VA changed my life? I just want to let you guys know that the first year of being a virtual assistant, I didn't specialize. I just tried to learn everything, be everything to my customers. And I got really exhausted. I got to where I wasn't sure being a VA was the right thing for me, because I told you I was trying to have this lifestyle business and be home with my kids, and I wasn't even paying attention to them. It was always, Mommy's busy. I'm busy. I'll do that after. I'll do that after. I can't, So anyways, there's more money in it, because when you specialize, you get paid more because you have one area, but you're going really deep into it, instead of knowing a little bit about a whole lot of different areas and then kind of feeling stupid with your client because you don't really know a lot of what you said that you were going to. You only need to learn a handful of skills really well. So instead of learning everything in the whole internet marketing realm, and because your clients they'll say, oh, can you do this for me? Oh, and you'll say, oh, sure. And then you go out there and learn it, and then it takes you forever, and then you've learned it, and then nobody ever asks you for that skill again. So you kind of spend all night learning something you might never learn again. And yeah, what I was starting to allude to earlier, there's just less burnout in it because I just was getting kind of sick of it, just trying to be everything, a Michelle of all trades. And I decided that there's too darn many VAs out there all doing the same stuff. So what's makes me any different than anybody else? I wanted to be the one person that specialized in just these things and make sure that everybody knew about it. And you become more valuable to your clients because my clients that I'm a webinar assistant to, they'll say things like, oh my God, I can't thank you enough. I could never have done this webinar without you. I was so nervous and it really helped me a lot having you there, having you do the practice session with me. And then just call me back over and over and over again. And I keep thinking at a certain point they're going to kind of graduate and, you know, get it together and do webinars without me, you know, but for whatever reason, they just like having me on there. They just like, it's a psychological crutch for them, I guess, just to have somebody have your back doing them. So that has just feeling like, you know, sometimes a virtual assistant can get to where they think, oh, well, you know, I'm a VA. There's just so many VAs out there. I wonder when my client is just going to go find somebody in the Philippines or something who charges less, who does the same kind of stuff as I do. Sometimes, sometimes Leslie will say that, but I would never get rid of Leslie because Leslie is too valuable to me. And I wanted to be like that for my clients. They can't replace me with someone who's cheaper. So anyways, that's that. All right, so now let me share with you, if you're interested in learning more, if what I've taught you has kind of sparked some kind of an interest in learning more about this, I'm going to share with you what I've taken years and years and years to learn and put together into a package. And so stick with me to the end because I've got a special coupon code that allows you to get it cheaper than the price on the sales page. Okay, so don't go over to the sales page yet. I've also got a special link to use that coupon code with. Okay, so it's the Webinar Mastery Boot Camp, and we're going to meet together 5 times. This is the first time I've done it live in 2 years. I've been selling the recordings, but I've decided things have changed a little bit in the webinar industry and it's time to do it live again. So there's 5 one-hour meetings and it starts on February the 11th at 4 p.m. Eastern. And in Module 1, we get into the course. I talk about the optional tools and how to set up your business for success, because if you set it up right from the beginning, unlike I did, you'll start making money sooner than later, and you won't have to do any free webinars if you don't want to. Module 2, we're going to talk about the technology and the tools, and we're going to actually be in the tools. You're going to be behind the scenes, and I'm going to be showing you how I work behind the scenes to make things relaxing for my clients. And you're going to see all the little gadgets and GoToWebinar and then Google Hangouts to help just make it a smoother process. And I'm going to talk to you about all my contingency plans that I go over with the client. You know, I tell them all the things that could go wrong, and there's never anything that hasn't gone wrong. That way they realize, yeah, things can and do go wrong technically, and this is how I'm going to handle every single thing. So they feel more comfortable with that. We're going to talk about lead pages, which is my webinar registration tool, so that you can make them a really pretty registration page. Okay, in Module 3, I'm going to talk to you about all that other stuff, about how to set up the webinar for success. how we get people onto a webinar, how we market the webinar to make sure the client has the best possible turnout, and also what we do with the replay as well. And then I'm going to teach you, we're going to go into both Camtasia and Snagit. Now, I don't know if you're going to be using a different tool, and maybe you already know it, but I'm going to teach you how to do the webinar recording, the editing, producing, and publishing it out to wherever the client wants it, and then how to take those replays and repurpose them for other content. And then in Module 5, and this is actually a new thing. I did it briefly once. This is a new module, creating beautiful PowerPoints and marketing your webinar skills. Well, I did talk about webinar skills and services in the last time I ran it, but I'm devoting more time to PowerPoint now because over the last year and a half I started adding that as a service to create those for clients, and it's fun, so you just might like to learn that for yourself too. Lots of VAs do PowerPoint presentations. All right, I got some bonuses for you guys. We got transcribing and repurposing. Transcription is a good thing to learn. I've got a whole report you can give away to your clients. So this is something that you can take and use on your own website to market yourself. Okay, because you might not already have an opt-in, a freebie that you give away. I'm going to give you that freebie that you can give away. It shows them, that you know what you're doing. All right, webinar action plan. You're going to learn how to use Amazon S3, which is where I keep all my webinars. Also, this is new, access to the Camtasia Coaching private Facebook group for 1 month. It's every week we meet. This is in addition to the modules. This is an additional 4 weekly sessions of us all meeting and talking about things video related. And oh yes, this was the one-time special bonus. This is something that we just added to that. I just told you about that. That's the month in the screencast video coaching session. And I also want to let you know, guys, that there's a certification available. You have to complete a project which is delivering, I don't mean to say delivering, I mean you get with someone else of your choosing, maybe someone within the group, and you actually conduct a webinar, and I have you feed some questions to the presenter, record it, edit it, produce it. If you prove that you can do that by showing me the final webinar, we actually have a webinar mastery certificate that you can display on your website, and when people click on that, they can see the curriculum that you went through. All right, so we normally charge, I normally charge $297 for this, and you can get it at a special price of $100 off. If you go to this link, okay, and Leslie, would you do me a favor of sending that link out in the chat so everybody has it available, and I'm going to click on it in just a second. That price, that coupon code, shall we say, is only good through class starting, which means February the 11th. I'm giving you all the way till midnight, even though you'll miss the first class if you don't sign up for it until midnight. But everything is going to be recorded. So if you can't do things at 4 Eastern because you're working or something, you'll just watch the replay that night and jump into the Facebook forum and we can talk. Okay, so let me click on that. If a lot of people are going to there right now, it's going to be slow. Oh, by the way, it doesn't need a coupon code because we already reduced the price. So if that feels more comfortable to you, that's fine. So let me hit add to cart. That code took $100 off and now it's $197. I will probably not run that webinar live again for another couple of years. So if it seems like something that you're interested in, please go ahead and take advantage of it now. Live is always better because you get your personal questions answered, and also the 30 days in the our private Facebook forum is not going to be available if you buy it when it's already recorded. Leslie, I'm going to assume that you have answered all the questions and sent it out to everybody for everything that's come in. Let's see if were there any questions that you were not able to respond to that you said, I'll ask Michelle when she finishes?
What if they don't know a lot about using Camtasia?
Don't use it then. I mean, learn it from me. If you sign up and you want to learn it from me during the program, I'm teaching it to you. But if you feel like you don't want to learn it, just get a simpler tool. Like if you're not going to eventually try to get into videos, making training videos, then Camtasia is probably overkill for you. Just pick up Snagit. Just do a search of Snagit and just get that for $59, or if you're a PC user, use Movie Maker or something. But I don't use that. But it's a pretty simple tool to learn. I just don't know for sure if it spits out MP4 files. That's the only thing. Yeah, Claire, there is a 2-payment option. If you're unable to get to the sales page right now because of overactivity, just wait. You'll see you can scroll down and use the 2-pay. No coupon needed for that. Okay, the boot camp starts in the 2/11. Will it be every day? Oh, no, thanks for asking. It's once a week on a Thursday at 4 o'clock, every session. That gives you a week to do your homework if you choose to, in between, get some practicing done and all that other fun stuff. Let's see, it's 1 day a week. Okay, does the course include info on how to promote yourself with SEO? Yes, how to market yourself is in Module 5. What is the average amount of time that we should expect to start seeing income rolling in after completing the boot camp? Well, as soon as you have your first customer. If you choose not to do any practice ones for free, just to get in the training, get into other people's programs, like I did, yeah, as soon as you have your first customer, obviously you get paid right after that. If you're asking me how long it's going to take you to have your first customer, that depends a lot on who you already know. What clients do you already have that you can encourage to start doing webinars, or how long it takes you to put a package together and put it on your website, how long it takes you to get into social media and Google and promote yourself. That's really going to be different for everybody. What version of Camtasia? I'm going to be using version 8, but version 7 is pretty close, pretty close, and you can always download a free trial copy. By the way, you can get your Camtasia Studio at my reseller site. For people that purchase the course, I am able to give you a discount on Camtasia Studio, but I don't offer it. I only offer it to buyers because what I do is I kick you back my commission on it. So, will the bootcamp be available later at full price on recording self-paced? It will be available. Yes, it will be, but I won't have a coupon. I mean, I do run a special on the recordings, but the live event is on special right now. Okay, and I think live is better, but the recordings, at some point during the year, I'll probably release the recordings. Whether I'll have a coupon code depends on what I feel like doing at the time. Is $200 per webinar a low average price or above average? What is too much? What is too much? It depends on what you offer. You know, sometimes if you're going to throw in taking their replay and editing it more thoroughly, like a lot of clients are like me and they use filler words a lot when they're delivering. And I will offer to remove a big chunk of those for them. And so I charge a lot more for that because it's very tedious. Is it only Camtasia? Can I use iMovie? Oh, you're on a Mac. Sure you can. I'm not a Mac user. I don't teach iMovie. If you can just figure out how to edit with iMovie, then you're home free. How to edit and produce an MP4 video, then you're good to go. So back to you, Tanya, if you would like to say goodbye to all your VAs that joined us.
Well, I want to thank you, first of all, Michelle. Thank you so much, and Leslie, for being Michelle's aide here on this, her VA, her webinar specialist, and helping us learn more about this. And it was just an awesome webinar. I really...
Thanks.
Yeah, no, you answer so many questions and get everything. It just sounds like a really cool thing to do if you're a virtual assistant. If you're creative and you love doing different things like PowerPoints and Camtasia and all the different other ways, you don't even have to know Camtasia like Michelle was saying. But it is a great way to learn stuff. I know I did a lot of webinars for my client before, and I learned a lot of stuff. I worked for an internet marketer, and that was before I was an internet marketer, and I did some webinars for that client, and that was one of the things that stirred me on to learn more about internet marketing and things, because I was at all their webinars. So very cool niche. You can learn a lot of stuff on the side as well, plus it's a great service to offer your clients. But awesome, Michelle.
Oh, well, thank you so much. It was a real delight being on here and working with you again, Tanya, and you have so many people that follow you. I'm really excited, you know, to be a part of anything that you do. And thank you for joining us. Thank you for all the positive feedback. That makes me feel really, really good, because I work hard to put these together, and usually I'm kind of a nervous wreck right before I go on. I feel like I'm an actress or something, you know, going on a stage. But then when I get on, it's weird. All the nervousness goes away. And I think if you decide to do webinars yourself, you'll find that to be the case. It's really weird. Leading up to the webinar, it's just like, and then all of a sudden it's like, you know, I'm here, and everybody's so nice. The recording will come out tomorrow, and you'll get a couple more emails with some giveaways. All right, take it easy. Thank you, Leslie. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming.